So recently I was thinking about gimmicks and how most of the time people, when they talk about gimmicks, they talk about it as if it's like a bad thing. Like it takes away from a product or a service or whatever it is. And personally, I've always been like interested in gimmicks, like good ones, obviously. Like the good ones are fun and interesting. Like they make the thing more interesting than it could have been without it. Because I feel like a good product on its own, the most it can really be is just like really good, really reliable, and enjoyable for its purpose. But like a gimmick, when it's really unique and it's really fun, like it actually is bringing more soul and like a new life into something that it would not have had otherwise. Merriam-Webster defines a gimmick as a trick or device used to attract business or attention. I think that's simple. I think that's more like a textbook definition. I think it's more than just like marketing or attention. Like if something is only reducible down to just marketing, like it's only there just to get people to like pay attention to it the first time, that's just marketing. That doesn't really have anything to do with a product, I feel like. But like a good gimmick, like a good one, yeah, like it brings this soul into it. Like it has this whole new life, this new identity and experience. Like, and I feel like that's what it is. Like a gimmick should be an experience. It's not something just to get you to use something that enhances or changes the experience into something far more fun. I want you guys to see what I see when I think about a gimmick, or when I feel like something is a gimmick and it's enjoyable and it's fun. I want to give that to you because it's like, so yeah, I love gimmicks. I love them so much. I think can sometimes be even more important than what the product actually is, but yet it can't exist without it. So I don't know. Yeah, let's get into it. Okay, the first thing I think of when I think of like a gimmick that like stands out to me is definitely the Wii. The Wii brought something totally new to people. The Wii is like a video game system just as much as the Xbox or the PlayStation was at that time, but you control it inherently different. It wasn't like an add-on. It was like sort of like, it's part of it. Like, you have this pointer and you're pointing at the screen to select things, or you're moving it to get motion controls. That made it like more accessible for people also. When you got a Wii on Christmas morning and you had Christmas with your parents and your grandparents and everyone, like you got the one controller that came with it, the one Wiimote, and you were playing bowling with your siblings, your parents, your grandparents, like everyone. You just give it to them and you're just like, you just show them, just like this, grandma. You just gotta, and they were good at it too. And my dad, still to this day, he's like a professional in the golf industry. Like he's really good at golf and he works all day out of golf course, but sometimes he'll come home and turn on the Wii and play Wii Golf because it's that fun. It's still video games. Like you can't have this whole experience of the Wii without video games in the equation. But at the same time, it's a totally unique experience that you couldn't have with other ones. So it's sort of like the combined soul of both, making something greater than the sum of its parts. But at the same time, like a bad Wii game, like the gimmick didn't make up for bad Wii games. Bad Wii games, they're bad. They're not fun. And even if it's like the controls are okay and the game's not fun, it's not fun. Even worse, if the game's not fun and the controls were bad, and then you have just it was just a terrible experience. Obviously, gimmicks are like a high risk, high reward strategy. Although that's what it is, I still think though that the potential for the reward of a gimmick is much higher than the potential of a failure. And the reason why I say that is because the worst you could do is lose all your money. But the gimmick is like, it's something beyond life almost. I feel like it transcends. I don't know. Maybe I'm being dramatic about that, but I feel like a really good gimmick on top of a really good product, it just makes you want to experience that thing more. Let me get to some more examples and then it might be more clear. So mostly I've been talking about the Wii, which is like, to me, the obvious, it's the primary for a gimmick. But there are so many things out there that I think the gimmicks were underrated, or it had a small fan base, or just for a variety of reasons, people will stop remembering it. Like if you didn't have that thing, obviously the Wii had such a huge cultural impact. But there's a lot of products out there that have surprisingly cool gimmicks. Now, this next thing, to me, this is like what a gimmick is. This is more like cut and dry, like this is a gimmick, but this is awesome. I think it's awesome. Okay, so in 2004, Oakley came out with these sunglasses. Okay, they made a lot of sunglasses. Okay, they still do. That's like the main thing is their glasses. But it had, built into the glasses, it had a MP3 system, like a player, that had storage in it to store songs, and also earbuds that are attached and they're like on articulating arms, and you bring them down into your ears and you can listen to music with your sunglasses. And also, if you want to wear them indoors, the lenses flip up. And that is awesome. Let me tell you why I think these are so awesome. Okay, obviously this was like in a time where like MP3s were like, that was like the thing, you know. There's many things, but that was a thing. Now think about, most people at this time are wearing wired earbuds. They're carrying an MP3 player in their pocket and the wires running either outside or inside their clothes into their ears, right? And that has a lot of inconveniences in a certain way already, because obviously we know what it's like to have wireless earbuds, and that's like amazing in its own. But this is sort of like tapping into that experience early while not really being that technologically so crazy. It's not that they're wireless, because they're not wireless because they are connected directly to the MP3 player, because they're in the glasses. These are a gimmick because you don't need the music part of the sunglasses. Sunglasses have their own entire utility as far as like eye protection, fashion, expression, all this sort of stuff. But then you can also put music into them and listen to it while you're wearing your sunglasses, okay? But at a time, this is 2004. This was like, it feels wireless. You're like getting that wireless experience, and you also look like you look so cool. Like, to me, this is really cool. I think you would look cool wearing these. At first I thought AirPods looked dumb. You know, I got over myself, whatever. They're just a natural occurrence these days. Maybe I'm saying this because of that bias that I used to have, but these glasses look way cooler than wearing AirPods, because it's sort of like, maybe the whole gimmick of it is like, watch this, and then you're like, and maybe I just want so many things where you could be like, watch this. It's like the experience, not just being like, wow, that's really nice. That's a nice product. I enjoy that. Like when other people are going like, whoa, that's awesome, I love that. And then you're like, I know, right? And I own this, and this is mine, and I get to do this every day. That's the experience I'm looking for, and these provide that, I think. I honestly don't know what the reaction was when these glasses first came out, because they were pretty expensive when they came out. They were $250 in 2004, so I'm gonna put the calculation on screen for what the modern inflation rate would be for that. But like, that's pretty pricey. I mean, Oakley glass is already expensive, so it's like kind of for a certain economic brackets to be buying these sunglasses in the first place, and then you're having this like crazy like advanced technology put into it. But to me, the fact that these existed like so long ago, I think it's awesome. And to put it more concisely, that's the feeling where something about a product is so compelling and so like wow factor and so like cool and like impressive, not just like baseline impressive, but like creative, interesting, like that is its own thing, impressive. It just gives me a certain feeling that's like, that's exciting, you know? It turns like spending your money into something that's like the best of both worlds, of like people who want to spend their money on products and like own objects and possessions, versus people who want to spend their money on experiences. You sort of get both. The Wii, you're buying a product and you're gonna like pay for it, and it's gonna be a physical object that you're gonna get use out of. And obviously video games sort of already bring that combination of like the object, the possession, and the experience. The experience of these gimmicks, it's just like this compounding, like doubly awesome thing.
We're going to use the best pointing device in the world. We're going to use a pointing device that we're all born with. We're born with 10 of them. We're going to use our fingers. We're going to touch this with our fingers.
Briefly, I'd like to touch on my opinion on this. Let me just lay the foundation out. You know, this is just more me talking about my opinion about this. In my opinion, I think the iPhone having a touch screen and being such a powerful device, like the original one when it came out, to me, like that was kind of a gimmick at the time. To me, it feels like a more like superhuman version of a gimmick. Like Apple, I think has remained really good at this since then. They're sort of like giving you a product they know we're gonna like, they know it's gonna be useful to us, but they're introducing something new as a gimmick to then sort of absorb that gimmick into the baseline for what that product should contain. Okay, let me explain. Phones, most of the phones back then, like there were touchscreen phones. That was not like, Apple was not the first to do that, obviously. Most people had like phones with physical buttons on it. Touch screens, you go to the grocery store, there's sometimes like kiosks that have touch screens. There were some phones that had touch screens. The DS had a touch screen like 4 years before the iPhone came out. Touch screens were like a thing, but Apple knew that it's like, okay, I'm speculating here, obviously, but it's like, I almost felt like Apple knew that a touch screen was going to be like integral to the DNA of what a cell phone should be going forward. So they sort of perfectly at the right time, they introduced this gimmick that made it more interesting, more wow factor, but more importantly, easier to use, and made it just something better. Like they just made it better. And I think that's why I'm saying it's like a superhuman version of a gimmick, because it's like it just also made the product better. Like it didn't just add this extra really awesome fun thing that gave you an experience to the baseline of the product, but it literally altered the baseline of the product and what more it was going to give you. I think that is super impressive. Okay, full transparency, I like Apple products. I think they're well designed. Not without criticism though of the company or the products. I just find this super interesting. It's like, yeah, like the superhuman version of a gimmick that, like I said, altered the baseline DNA of the product of the cell phone. The use, the utility, the potential. Really. Honestly, I was really young when the iPhone came out. I've always been interested in technology since like a really young age. Even as a kid, I was looking at the iPhone and be like, whoa, that's like such a cool piece of technology. Like, when technology is advancing. Also, I was 7 and I wanted to play like what games were even on there? I wanted to play like Doodle Jump and like Cut the Rope, because I was 7. Even me as a kid, I was like, whoa, like technology is advancing. And it felt like advancement, but a gimmick also. But yeah, like clearly it was a new way to move through the world and to access the internet. Maybe it's because I have been on the internet since I was really young, but I knew that access to the internet was going to be game changing. Okay, I'm kind of painting my 7-year-old self as if I was like so advanced and mature in my understanding of technology in the world, but I'm just trying to say on some level I knew it and I understood it. But obviously the iteration of phones and cell phones through the years is like a topic in itself. That's a whole different thing, but I felt like the touch screen was a specific and meaningful example. Okay, but before we move on, okay, this is something that I've been dying to talk about. Anytime any of my friends like mention this, or like I see a commercial or whatever, like I'm just like dying to talk about it, is the Samsung Z Flip 6, okay? It is a folding smartphone with a touch screen, and it's made out of glass, but it folds. The screen, the working screen folds. Like, screens don't fold inherently. Okay, obviously we've had flip phones. I've been standing here talking about flip phones for the last few minutes. Like, we've had flip phones. Flip phones are in our recent past. Like, it's not like anything crazy, okay? But when you put glass and a touch screen and you're folding on that glass, like, oh my gosh, when I saw this, I've been keeping an eye on this. They've been doing this for a while, but they get better all the time. Every year they get better. And now it's just like, we have this beautiful Samsung phone that's like the same as like their main non-pro version Galaxy phone. It folds. And then it has a little screen on the outside. And I know there's like the bigger one. I don't care about that. I will save that for another time, but I don't care about that. I like this flip phone. But really what I'm getting at here is like the folding. I'm just talking about this. I just wanted to share about this because I see commercials. I watch videos. I see this at the store. Every time I'm at a store where they have like cell phones on display, I look for it because I just want to touch it. I've been wanting to get the phone, but it's like, I have a perfectly good phone. I can't just replace my phone because I like the gimmick. And normally I would. Normally I would replace something because I like the gimmick better, even if it's doing things not as well. But really it's just like, it's expensive. Smartphones, the popular ones, are expensive. I hope my passion is oozing through your screen because clearly I love this. Like, I don't love my phone that doesn't fold this much, but I can have a phone that does everything that I want it to do, but it folds, and I can flip it closed, I can flip it open, I can hang up a phone call like this, I can be talking to somebody like, okay, bye, and then I close it. Like, that you want to end a call that way. We all want to end a phone call with a landline and slam it down. We all want to do that. Maybe we'll get an opportunity with a new, like hang up machine for your smartphone that won't break it. I mean, I don't know how you do that, but now we can slam it closed again. And now they're dust proof. They weren't even dust proof for a while. And that's crazy. People were like, if you have this phone, don't bring it to the beach. Like, that is dangerous. Don't bring it to the beach. That's really sad, but now you can. Now it's dust proof. They're getting better all the time. Sometimes it takes time, sometimes things are too early, and that's okay, but I'm excited about this one. I want it. And I can't wait until hopefully in a few more months they come out with the next one. You know, the Z Flip 7. I would love to get it. Maybe I can afford it at that point, or maybe my phone will break and I'll have no choice. To me, this is just, you know, I've been trying to come up with all these convincing like points and examples and ways to demonstrate how I feel academically about a gimmick, but to me this is just a good old-fashioned gimmick. They have put research and development into this to sell it for the same price as their other phones that don't fold. That's awesome. That is awesome. It's still expensive. I still don't think it should cost that much. Maybe the flip phone. The big flip phone is way too pricey though. That's like okay, another time. Don't you just look at this and you're like, whoa, like that's cool. Like, wow, oh my god, that's awesome. Clearly, this is what a gimmick should do. This is what products should do to a person. We talk about these material possessions. We talk about not wanting to be greedy or to be so materialistic, but is it so wrong to want something that makes me so happy? Is it so wrong to want to be made happy by something? You know, life is not always easy, and the simple joys in life exist beyond the wind blowing through the grass or looking at a beautiful sunflower facing the sun. It exists in a flip phone or a little handheld game system with 2 screens, and one of them has a touch screen and the other one is 3-dimensional image with no glasses. Sometimes I want to swing a Wii remote around and play tennis and get my ass kicked by Matt. These are the simple joys in life beyond what naturally exists in front of us, because not only is it so interesting and fun and it gives an experience, but like another person made that. That is so cool that someone else came up with that. People put time and money into creating it so that we could all experience it. Now maybe I'm, you know, a little bit too rose tinted glasses with this, because obviously most products exist to make money. You know, that's just the nature of the world that we live in currently, but I would like to think that they enjoyed coming up with the idea of the Wii and creating the technology for it. I would like to think the 2 guys in the "We would like to play with you" commercials were like just so excited about it. Like, clearly they're showing up to your house and they're saying, "We would like to play with you." I would like to play with you too. I would like to play Wii with you. I would like to take my flip phone and take my cool camera and my Oakley thumps with MP3 player in them and enjoy life. I can enjoy that in the house, on the beach, in the forest. Like, I just want to enjoy myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want more. Leave a comment what your favorite gimmick is. Something you own, something you grew up with, something you want to buy, something that interests you, an experience. You know, even something like going to New Zealand because Lord of the Rings was filmed there. Let me know. Thanks. See you next time.